Good morning. So now we're moving on to the next poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. It's written by Stephen Spender. It is one of the most moving, one of the most intricate, one of the most image heavy. Okay, there's a lot of imagery in this poem. So you have to be careful in understanding every element. So because every element that is there in the poem has been chosen with a purpose. No line, no imagery is there without a purpose. This, as the title suggests, is about an elementary school. An elementary school is just a primary school, classroom in a slum. This poem is giving you a perspective that you've never had before, might not ever have before, because we are better off than people who are in a slum. So, in order to get that perspective to us and to show how inequality in this world hampers certain human beings just like us who should have had the opportunity that we are having, but they don't have it because of some people, because of certain ideologies, certain things, intricate human values like greed and ideologies like capitalism don't come about to certain people, and they have to live their whole life in such conditions. So let's first talk about the poet a little bit. He's Stephen Spender. He was born in 9 February 1909. So it was definitely just before the World War One that he was born. He was born in London, England. Sorry, Kenningston. He was born in Kenningston, and it's in England. He died in London in 1995. He stayed in London most of his time, but he went to America as well later. And he was just like any other author in his circle, a revolutionary. Okay, he was not an author who used to just write about things that he found beautiful. No, he used to write about things that had, according to him, a revolutionary aspect to it. So if he's writing about something, he wants that thing to change. We were just at when he was born, we were just about to see how industrialization had taken over England. And in the previous era, in the 1800s, poets were writing about how industrialization has depleted the natural beauty of England. So poets like Wordsworth, Byron, Shelley, these people were writing about how the England that we had before, the beautiful England, is being taken over by these industries, and it's being filled with smoke, and it's been made black with tar, and people are also just getting into those industries, and they're not being able to enjoy anything. So they have become very mechanical. Now, post that, where industrialization has already it's being it's everywhere, it's omnipresent. Post that, we have people like Steven Spender who are questioning the ills of industrialization, the ills of uh, ideologies like capitalism, because these things bring a certain inequality in our society, which leads to all the problems that he is discussing. One of those situations is obviously in a slum where he went to see an elementary school classroom. Now, his ideologies, if we want to talk about, were mostly socialism, and he was a pacifist. Okay, he was interested in socialism. I think we have discussed socialism. So, just to give you a brief summary, we have number one, communism. Oh, we have communism. We have capitalism. Okay, where do I write? We have capitalism. Then we have socialism. Then we have communism. All right. So what is capitalism? Capitalism is free market, free society. Everybody who wants to compete can and is free to do so. But people with more money always have advantage. And what eventually leads to is that there's a huge inequality in society, because the people who have the money always have the money, and people who don't have the money are in such a condition that they can never have money. So the gap between rich and the poor, it just continuously increases. It does not come to, it does not become less. So if there is let's say even in India, 70% of India's wealth is owned by the top 1%, 0.1%, or 70 100 people, something like that. So there's a very big inequality gap. Most of the people live in middle class, or let's say in lower middle class and poor conditions, but 70% of India's wealth is with 170 people only. So there's a very big inequality. So this is a product of capitalism. What was socialism? Socialism was a step towards communism. If if I don't know if you've heard of this person called, what happened, called Karl Marx, right? Karl Marx brought about a theory called Marxism, right? Marxism. What was Marxism? Marxism was an ideology in which they wanted to build a society which is classless. So, if you heard the term upper class, middle class, lower class, right? They didn't want these classes. They wanted everyone in the society to be the same. Everybody in the society will contribute to the society. They will have jobs. They will have things, but everybody will be equal. They will, if one person has a car, everybody will have a car. If they are eating four rotis in the morning, everybody will get four rotis in the morning. Nobody will get eight rotis, and nobody will get half roti. Okay, there's a construction work somewhere. Okay. So this was Marxism. Marxism wanted communism to happen. Okay, communism is where you want a classless society. This is a society. Communist society would be a society where there is no class. So Karl Marx had proposed this ideology, which is called Marxism, and wanted a society which is communist. So socialism is a socialist society, or a socialism. Socialism is the ideology, and socialist is a society, is a step towards communism. How is it a step? Because capitalist, so if somebody is a billionaire, he won't one day just give up all his wealth and distribute all his wealth among people, right? That will never happen. So how can we get towards a society which is classless? So what happens is that there is a government elected, right? So there is a government, we also have a government. So India before 1991 was also mostly socialist. It is still socialist to some extent. How, I'll tell you. So in 1991, no, socialism is when there is a government, and that government has taken over all forms of industries. So industries is usually, businesses is usually where people can become extremely rich. You cannot become rich by doing a job every day, because you get a monthly fixed income and there is no prospect of increasing that manifold. You can only become extremely rich by doing a business of sorts. So the government takes away that from the people. The government says, the government will have control over, I will run all the industries, so that no one can become extremely rich, number one. And then when I will control all the industries, so I will control all the demand, all the prices. So there's no opportunity for anyone to become extremely rich. If you want to start a business, you will have to take some license from me, you will have to take some permission from me. So that is what was the case with India before 1991. So there were factories like HMT, right, which used to make even watches. There was only one car that was allowed, that was Ambassador, which was made by the government. It was in 1991 that there were reforms called LPG. This was liberalization, privatization, and I don't know, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. This this happened in 1991, where the government said, okay, now I will give up control over all these industries slowly, and everybody will be allowed to compete in the market. Everybody who wants to open up an industry is free to do so. If they want to export their product, they can do so, right? Private industries were allowed. Liberal policies were made that everybody can open up and make businesses of sorts. And globalization is where you can have exchanges with other countries and increase your businesses. So that was a brief summary of what is capitalism, everybody is a free society. Socialism where government has most control. Communism where everybody is equal. Okay, the society is being run by the government definitely, but nobody has any advantage over anyone else. The society is basically classless. These people who are communists, okay, are called usually left leaning. So they are left leaning, right? If you are from West Bengal, you have relatives in West Bengal and they are old, so there's a very high chance that they are communists, because West Bengal was had a communist government for about 32 years. There were consecutive chief ministers in West Bengal who were communists. So we belong to a party called CPIM, right? I think we discussed it in the class as well. Communist Party of India, Marxist. So these people are usually called left-leaning folks. They're left. They lean towards the left. That means their ideology is towards this communism. They want a society which is more equal. They don't want a capitalist society. Okay, so how do I? Okay, something. Let me clear everything. So they want a socialist society. He was also a left-leaning poet. So he was definitely revolutionary in the sort that he wanted his poetry to bring that sort of a revolution, to bring that sort of, or at least move in that direction. The society should not move in the direction of inequality, it should move in the direction of equality. So he was questioning everything that according to him was a sign of very high inequality in society. This poem is one of those uh, instances where he's questioning the education system of slums, education, questioning poverty.